Welcome to Dicta, your weekly dose of law school and bar exam info. I'm Carrie Ann.
And I'm Puyan, and we're the co-founders of Inco. So today we're going to discuss a little bit about the stages of law school and, your personal development throughout these stages. I think that's a good way of phrasing it.
Yeah, I think I would phrase it as setting priorities during law school and as a law student, and why it's important to understand what your set of priorities are, so you can best order your time accordingly.
Yeah, I still can't do that. Don't really know what priorities are, but we'll
comforting.
hopefully we'll get to it.
Why don't you just be quiet? Just let me do the talking. Well, this is something I actually feel very passionate about talking about, because it's something that I struggled with as a law student, particularly in my second year, when it's like, oh, now I'm on a e-board for a club or two clubs, and I'm involved with the student bar association, and I have an internship, and I'm taking 10 classes, and whatever it is. Like, there was just a lot going on, and it's like, how do I allocate my time accordingly? And I really did try to keep school at the forefront of everything else, Like, those other things were nice to do, but really I was paying a lot of money to be in law school, so I always made sure that my classwork, going to classes, getting my stuff done on time, making sure I was still outlining, briefing, the whole nine, was taken care of. I am seeing a lot now that I'm on the flip side of this, though, that students are really placing a high emphasis on their internship experience. So did you do internships when you were in law school?
Yeah, I did. Less traditional ones. I actually, I knew I wanted to start my own practice, so I interned for a lot of small firms and solo practitioners, kind of just to shadow them and see how they operated their businesses. I was really more interested in how they ran their business than the law, because the law will come. I mean, you learn how to do legal research. You can figure out how to do that stuff through clinics and externships, which I did in my third year. So yeah, I did non-traditional, like following solo practitioners around and stuff.
So you actually brought up a point I hadn't even been thinking about, the clinics. That is definitely can be a really overwhelming time suck situation. How did you balance schoolwork and the clinic?
Well, I mean, my third year, I took a clinic, which was like 6 credits. I did an externship with Federal Defenders of New York, which was like 4 or 5 credits. And then I just took like a 2 or 3 credit course. So I basically lived in the clinic area. I was like a fixture there, like a lamp. I was there like 40 hours a week. When I wasn't
You're
there,
still kind of like just a fixture.
When I wasn't there, I was at my externship. We didn't really have much work to do outside of the externship, like homework and stuff. So I really just took one course and spent all my time learning immigration law in the clinic, which is what I wanted to learn how to do.
So you had sort of a schedule that was designed around doing that, and you weren't also really taking substantive classes at the same time.
Yeah.
So if that's possible, that's a great way to do it. But if you are still taking doctrinal classes, or if your school is offering bar prep courses that are either optional or required, if either way you find yourself in those courses, it's really important to take them seriously, because yes, that client from the clinic or the externship is really important, and that will be your number one priority when you are a lawyer. But I see this third year mentality of just like, this is the most important thing, the client is the most important thing, and I'm going to skip class, or I'm not going to get to my outlining. And it's not a judgment on my part to say, hey, look out for this, because I get it. I totally get it. And the work you do as student attorneys is really important. But you have to be able to say, this is my education, and I can't get to the point where I'm doing the lawyering if I don't pass the bar, if I don't graduate, if I have a low GPA, because this is all I was doing.
Yeah, on that note, the one course I did take while I had my clinic and externship was a supplemental bar prep course that was offered at my law school. So that was the only other course I was taking. And that semester that year is why I graduated with honors, because I just had a 4.0 in my clinic, 4.0 in my externship, and I got an A in my one course. So I had literally like 16 credits of 4.0 for 2 semesters in a row, which like boosted
really
my
helped you from
GPA
first
like
year.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just important it's something to pay attention to, right? And I'm
Right.
not saying that everyone does this. It's just you are paying a lot of money for your legal education. I
Yeah.
probably say this in every video because it definitely wasn't on the forefront of my mind as a law student. And I wish I had been thinking about that more with some of the choices I made. But in this one area is something I actually think I did a good job at, which was prioritizing my education and my schoolwork above other things. And part of that means thinking ahead and not taking on more than you can handle, not biting off more than you can chew. And if you have the ability to design your semester in a way that you can focus primarily on client work, that's great. So some of it is planning ahead of
Yeah.
time so that you don't end up in a situation where you have to make those tough choices between serving the client fully or serving your own education.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely more difficult for you probably because you had more of a social life. I mean, my first
I
year,
wouldn't call it that, but
I transferred after my first year, so I didn't have any friends at the school during the second year. You know, you make all your friends and form your groups during your first year, like while you're all stressed out. And then I basically just kept a low profile and tried to keep my GPA up and try to figure out how I'm going to start a business as soon as I graduate. So for me, it was a little more straightforward and I didn't have the stresses of like going to parties or hanging out with people because I didn't know anybody.
yeah, that wasn't a big part of my existence, but it was part of my existence. I did socialize with the people I went to law school with and did some of that stuff too. So that was also a factor. But the bottom line is this something you feel like you're struggling with or that you could struggle with if you're just going into law school? Make a plan, and if you have any questions about it, join the Vinco Facebook group and shoot us a message, and one of us would be happy to help you work through those priority issues. So, all set?
See you next week.